that have been happening, any activities that's been discussed with the Board of Ed over the last couple months. The reason why I'm also going to bring that up is because we didn't have any accommodations this time or proclamations as far as what was going on. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because our girls basketball team just won a state championship.
And they're not available tonight.
They're having a banquet tonight.
I understand that. But again, just for the town as a whole.
We're going to bring them in.
Can I finish, please? Thank you. So just so that you guys can have your time afterwards, because my time gets cut all the time. So again, just for that to be actually stated for accommodations and proclamations, that was one of the things that is actually there that the town is aware, just needs to be aware of as a whole, because that's a brand from Franklin itself. And that's what they were, the brand of Franklin. They brought a lot of pride to this town. And again, that's one of the things that I always talk about from a youth development standpoint, is that we get a lot of accreditation and claim for that, for them winning a championship because they were Franklin. But we don't. I just want to make sure that they're getting the proper respect that they deserve. So that is one thing. The second thing is master plan, because of a lot of activity that's going on behind the scenes. I would like to know exactly when the town will actually start discussing the master plan, because of a lot of congestion that might be happening in the next 2-3 years on certain proper roadways. I would like to actually make sure that a lot of activities be discussed with the master plan and people have a chance to have their input on it. Because whether or not there's going to be a congestion point on Hamilton Street with a lot of activity developments that are going on, or Route 27 with other construction that might potentially happen in that area. So, and also with the Board of Ed, the reason why I keep bringing that up is because the Board of Ed will be introducing the middle school within the next year and a half, and that needs to also be a part of the master plan as far as roadway conditions, transportation, and other things that we actually look at. So those are things that I'm actually bringing up as a whole. The other thing is just because of the attention that's probably going to get over the next couple months, is just that election things, the proper protocol and measures. If the town clerk or anybody else can actually tell the town about the proper protocol with actually submissions for election stuff publicly, just not in print or paper, just to make that known to anybody else that is out there that might want to fulfill their civil duties. That is one thing else I want to bring up during that time frame. So those are the main points that I wanted to bring up to actually try to get those addressed out in the public so that everybody is aware. And thank you for my time.
Very briefly, while the next person comes up, the planning board handles the master plan, and BOE talks are ongoing, and there's a Thursday joint meeting scheduled. Ms. Powell, how are you?
Good evening. Linda Powell, 22 Buffer Drive. Couple things. I'm here as a member of the Franklin Township Task Force on Compressor Station 206 and Northeast Supply. It's really an expansion project, but they call it enhancement project. And just to support what Barbara is saying, and I believe that every individual can be an intervener, because they count numbers. They don't really care what we say, but they count numbers, and they will have people on the other side. So if we do post anything on the website, it doesn't have to be pro or con. It can just be, this is how you contact FERC to become an intervener. So therefore, you're not taking sides. But I think all departments can also, and committees can become interveners, as well as individuals. So I would definitely encourage that, because I think we need to be counted, and unfortunately we have a very poor showing, and whatever was in the pre-filing, there weren't that as many comments as you see with other pipeline projects in New Jersey, and I think that, people have to understand that whatever was there before gets wiped out. So if you want to have any comment in the future, it has to be as an intervener, otherwise you can't even comment. So really, take this seriously and try to go ahead with it. The other thing I wanted to bring up is something that I know you've been discussing, and that's a fair and welcoming community, some type of policy or ordinance about that. And I didn't read the latest from, I think it's Sessions that came out. But as of last night, talking to some immigration lawyers, they believe that what has been presented so far by the current federal regime is unconstitutional, like some of their other edicts and stuff like that. So it may not be as big of a deal as we think, and a lot of people are going forward with saying that they are going to protect their residents. And I know we are a fair and welcoming community, and we want to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Powell. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Kelly Zare. I live at 18 Airy Drive. I originally came tonight to discuss the possibility of a chain being put at the end of 18 Airy, or at the end of Airy Drive. I have since found out that that ordinance was passed on February the 14th. I knew nothing about it. My apartment complex did not bother to tell any of the 528 residents of our complex. We will now have only one entrance to get out of the complex. I feel that that is a severe safety issue. Both of my children, their bus stops are actually on Julie Court. So on days like this, when it's raining, I either have to walk and hope I don't get too wet, or drive and take them to the bus stop. By driving, I have to drive half a mile up onto 27, pass all the other students that are already waiting at the bus stop at the front of 27, turn left on an unprotected turn, drive down 27, turn back onto Westminster on a left-hand turn, unprotected again, and then all the way back down to Julie Court. I'm just respectfully trying to offer a second opinion on how this chain is going to severely affect people at Airy Drive. I knew nothing about it until my mail lady happened to mention it in passing, and that was weeks after the ordinance had already been passed. I would like to see if there's any way that we could either open up Dina Drive so that we can have another entrance in the back, or have a light at 27 and Reller. I feel like having 528 people bottlenecked into one unprotected turn can be a danger. There are fire concerns, safety concerns with the police. I know I've called 911 multiple times, and I feel like it can be a danger to have them go all the way back that way through overspeed bumps, or I was told, oh, they'll just drive up, stop, get out, undo the chain, hop back in, and continue driving through. I think that's a safety concern. And I just wanted to know if there's anything that can be done, even though the ordinance has already been passed.
Where on Julie Court does the school bus stop?
Julie Court and Deborah. There's actually two stops. Julie's like this, Deborah comes around. There's a stop at both Julie and Deborah's.
Yeah, I guess it would be difficult for it to go down Julie because
Because the chain has been approved.
okay.
And
Yes,
I spoke with the transportation, and they said there's at least 70 students, approximately 70 students, that live on Airy and Reller that have their bus stop on Julie Court. That's a large number of people that have to suddenly drive around and through, or be replaced to a new bus stop at the front of 27, at the front of the complex, which has already got issues with the townships already has, the transportation with the district schools already have issues with that. So.
okay. The mayor?
Go ahead, Charles.
Okay.
Mr.
Yes. There was a need for that chain. That is why we put the chain on. Number one, kids from your area, they drive through Julie Court on a very high speed. There was a time the police, they put the speed check. So many of them were caught driving extensively where kids walk during the school time. Two, breaking of cars at that Julie Court were increased. I received tons of calls, many calls on my cell phone on these issues. That is why I brought the issue to the council. and we follow the normal process and procedure to order the chains. And so far, we worked very violently on this issue to make sure that everything is done properly and we follow the legal process. We've ordered the materials for that chain. The materials, they've all been ordered. And the marks were already done. So by next week, we'll start the process of putting the chains here. That is what I want to let you know. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just address some of the concerns as well,
Yes, sir.
since we're on the topic right now. So you raised some issues, and I'll just give you just a little bit of history here. So the Somerset Mews apartment complex was built in, I believe, 1976. At that time, those houses behind the apartment complex were not there, and it had one entrance. The connection between Deborah and Julie and Somerset Mews was put in at the request of the fire prevention official at the time when the planning board approved the subdivision that resulted in those homes being built. It was always intended to be a fire access only. That's why it got put in. It was never intended to be a through street to connect for residential traffic, Somerset Mews to Deborah and Julie Courts. The decision to eliminate that was one that was done with the approval of the current fire prevention official and the zoning official and the planning department and the traffic safety bureau and the police department. Your issue as far as a traffic light is concerned is one that you would need to raise with your landlord. That issue has been brought to the township on a number of occasions, to my knowledge, since at least 1999, when I first took over the Traffic Safety Bureau and the Police Department. The New Jersey Department of Transportation has a policy in place, and it has been in place since that long and long before that, that traffic signals that solely control a private driveway are the responsibility of the property owner. If he wants to put up the traffic signal, he can put up the traffic signal. I'm sure that the DOT would approve of it. It's got to go through the process, and the funding needs to come from the property owner. And I'm just telling you that that's the procedure, okay?
Baba.
Good evening. Manager Sababan, 46 Emerson Road. I just heard something that threw me off, and I would like to ask the process and procedures that these things are being done. It needs to be maybe reevaluated and looked at, because I think at this township, I have always said I'm so proud of this township. And I talk about it all the time, how good it is. But sometimes I think things have happened that the public doesn't know about it. Maybe we have to look at, maybe the township needs to look at process, how the public gets to know and get involved and communicates with the powers to be in whatever format is appropriate. And I think maybe there has to be a resolution or something, I don't know the legal process and procedure, to demand that every community, that 529 people, they're responsible to do, they have to do it by law of the township, rather than leave it to them to say if they want to do it, and the owner of the building who's making tons of money out of these people say, I'm not going to do it. And the township says, oh, it's their responsibility, but there has to be some serious provision in the regulations of the township that they are responsible, that they cannot shirk their responsibility. If they don't want to do it, they can give the money to the township with interest or whatever they are making out of it for the township to do it. They put the money out, and the township maybe would take responsibility. I don't know, but I'm saying that we have to have a way that these businesses cannot do whatever they want to do to their public. And this is safety. As he said, it's safety hazard, not only to people in that, safety hazard for other people. So that's my immediate concern. I have been concerned, as you know, about the state of our country and what is happening. I see every day that indications and some confirmation of the fact that we have people in power in this country that are attacking the foundation of our country and raising all the structure. Some of the people in the administration of the Trump administration are saying that we want to destroy the structure of this system. And we know what they are doing. For example, almost all of the departments, the federal departments, are headed by people who are antagonistic to that department. Therefore, either they are not going to appoint any other deputies or whatever they have, something that Bush administration was very good at it, not to fill the positions and the posts that are required. Therefore, they run the department to run down and say, this department is ineffective, so we don't want it. Because the budget, as we know, is a budget for militarized state police, not for a country or for a society or country that is based on democratic process and a civilized process. And we are in danger. And for that, I think every citizen in this country has to be vigilant. And every town in this country needs to be vigilant. I know we have very good track record in Somerset, but this is a reminder for me. Because if I don't remind myself every day that I have to be active and not to be depressed, this is what I say to myself. That attacking the country, that I carry its constitution every day, wherever I am, all the time. And that's what has kept me here. Because as most of you know, I have experienced 2 dictatorships. And it's scary to me. Many of you do not realize the level of fear that I have, and it's not unfounded. So I have raised this alarm for past maybe 10, 15 years that I've been in this township once in a while. But anyway, so the issue of sanctuary city is very important to me. And thank you so much for being proactive and having the draft or something that you have. And also, I'm hoping that this is going to be shared with us. Also, we were in his webinar meeting last night, as Ms. Powell reported, that we have lawyers that they have worked. Actually, they're focused on New Jersey, so they know a lot. They know a lot about New Jersey laws and everything. But they said every municipality, every township, they have to look at the whole process and make these resolutions, if we want to call it humane townships, whatever we want to call them, to make them so it goes with whatever laws and regulations have accompanied that. And I thank you very much. And I have been at a workshop at ACLU workshop, and they have 9 points that I'm going to send those 9 points to everybody tonight.
Okay, thank you. Your time is up.
Oh.
Thank you, though.
Can I have
one more sentence?
One sentence. Yesterday, Mark's one sentence was a paragraph, but I'm not going to do that.
You just used
yesterday at the United Nations.
That was a sentence.
Yesterday at the United Nations, United States Ambassador Nikki Haley, United States Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley, headed a group of about 40 countries that boycotted the talk about nuclear ban in the world.
Okay, thank
By
you.
saying that they are scared of these other countries that they don't have nuclear.
Ms. Saba, you have a
weapons.
very good heart, and I thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Donald.
Good evening, everybody. How are you feeling, manager? Excellent. First off, there's I guess a grant or whatever for the next paving of JFK. That's awesome. I think that's the final phase, and
Yes,
that's
absolutely true.
Everything I say isn't always positive. That's awesome. I drive it every day. I was with my neighbors recently, and they appreciated the snow removal. Good job on Spring Street. You were not here last month, or last whenever.
Last meeting.
I had a question about the Middlebush Park shack, I love to call it. Okay. The one that struck me is actually anchoring the building to the pad. It struck me as something that should have kind of been there, and I was wondering if you could articulate
I
what
have
that...
no idea, to be perfectly
Okay.
honest with you. I can find out for you, but I don't know.
And let's see, you have the goalposts and the cameras in one little, referendum here. Do you know what the goalposts is, the value of the goalpost and the value of the cameras? You have $35,000 in there. Do you know what how much is the goalpost?
You're talking about in this agenda?
Yeah,
It's in the resolutions.
the resolutions.
In the resolutions?
Yeah.
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
Right now,
Ordinance.
oh, it's an ordinance. Oh, so it's in a capital ordinance for this year? I mean, you're saying the goalposts and cameras.
Yeah, they're in the same, that's what kind of caught my attention. They're like two things that don't belong
I didn't,
together.
so I'm looking back at my finance office. I didn't prepare the capital ordinances, to be perfectly honest with you, Bill. So I don't know, and there's, I believe, 8 or 9 of them. So to know them off the top of my head right now, I don't know. I mean, you're asking for a whole lot. I think there's several $1 million worth of capital projects, and I'm not going to be able to give you an answer off the top of my head.
Okay. And then last but not least, congratulations to the Franklin girls basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And also, since my daughter is down in South Carolina, go Gamecocks.
Go Gamecocks.
Anyone else wishing to cheer on a team?
You know, Bill, I can give you an answer. All right? So now that I look at what it is, it's soccer goals, not goalposts. So you confused me completely by saying goalposts. Those go on football fields. Soccer goals go on soccer fields. $15,000 for the soccer goals. That's the ones that, to replace the ones that were moved to Dunham and Levitt Park last year because those goals were in poor condition. Those we took from Middlebush Park and now we're replacing them. And $20,000 for the camera.
Anyone else wishing to be reprimanded about their sports knowledge?
Mayor, seeing no one else coming forward from the public, a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion on closing the public session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public session is now closed. Council committee and council comment reports. Mr. Prasad, we'll start with you, sir.
Yeah, Human Relations met last night. The principal of the high school came and gave us an update on the progress she's been making, and that was a productive meeting where she got to get some of the community input as to what they felt about the high school. And other than that, the Williams compressor issue, we need to get people signed up as interveners, and training, of course, has to be offered, and we'll try and get some kind of a venue set up here with Wi-Fi for them to be able to do that, and wherever else we can do that. And I'll work with the manager on that. And Ms. Saba, your request on the welcoming and safe community is a work in progress, and we'll keep working on it. Other than that, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Ms. Robinson, or Councilwoman Robinson, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to, thank you, Ms. Cuthbert, for bringing the information in regards to Williams filing their application and the process for becoming an intervener. And I just jumped down to the suggestion that Linda Powell made in actually maybe providing the contact information, not taking a side one way or another, I think is a great point to consider. And to Mr. Guy's point, yes, go Franklin Warrior girls. Some of us on council actually attended the game. I was not in attendance, I was working. However, we do continue to support our youth in that vein, and they will be receiving acclamations from us at a later date. The election process is available to the public. You can call the Board of Elections. I don't know, Anne Marie, and I don't want to put any more work on you. Is that something you can provide information? Okay. And in regards to Erie Drive, my contact fell out, so I didn't hear your response, Mr. Manager. But is there any consideration to go back and even think about another entrance or exit? And the young lady came up and said maybe opening up Dina Drive, or just something to consider from a public safety perspective. So the only other thing I have is last meeting I didn't get a chance to update that I attended the groundbreaking for Habitat for Humanity for our family. It's just good to be able to be amongst the people of Franklin and actually see things getting done and doing something just out of the kindness of your heart, just because it's the right thing to do. It's not always controversial, it's not always political, but just to be there for the people, with the people, just being there. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Councilman Chase.
Okay, the Public Works Committee met this afternoon, and basically we discussed the streets to be repaved in this year's street paving budget. It's not final yet, where members of the committee are going to check out some of the streets, but so maybe I think by the next meeting of the Public Works Committee, we should finalize that list. We also considered some recommendations for the next round of sidewalks, somewhat more broadly spread than those that we've already approved, but with an aim to, making it safer for children to walk to school. And I don't think I have any other comments. I mean, plenty has been said about the compressor and the need for filing as an intervener. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Chase. Councilman Vasanella.
Thank you, Mayor. Is Bill still? Oh, yes, Bill, you're still here. JFK Boulevard, just a quick reference. We had long-term planned it to be section 1, 2, 3, 4. Last year, the only reason that the fourth section wasn't done, the section you're referring to that we're going to probably approve tonight, the bid, is because the transportation fund money and the grants we get was all held up because of issues in Trenton. But we get that grant. That's already been approved, and yes, that will be happening very soon. Otherwise, there's some roads left over from 2016, roads like Highland Avenue and others, that will be done first, and then we are working, as Councilman Chase referred to, on the list for 2017. But in a couple months, late spring, you should see some activity with road repaving and hopefully straight through till the fall. Want to acknowledge the basketball team. And some of our council people all of us, I think, were following it, if we weren't at the game, via text and other media. And that is definitely a remarkable performance by them. So congratulations, and we'll see them here next week, I'm sure. Ms. Saba, I'm going to ask the attorney, because I know you want to know specifically when you can see, review, maybe give input to the resolution that we're looking at moving along with council. So in a moment, I'm just going to ask the attorney to let you know how that works with technically, legally, when someone from the public is allowed to see those documents as they progress. Otherwise, I just wanted to, actually, that's it for tonight, Mayor, and if the attorney could just spell it out legally, I'd appreciate it, in reference to the Welcoming City resolution in the works.
Councilman, draft resolutions are not released until they're put on the council agenda. So up until that point in time, they're obviously a work in progress, so we never release them until that.
So when it's formally put on the agenda, that's
Correct.
when the clerk would be able to provide it to Ms. Saba, and
Yes.
you'd have time at that point to give whatever input.
Correct.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Francois.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was sitting here having a deja vu experience when you were talking about Erie Drive, because that controversy and the issues come up like over probably the past 8 years. I remember one time we had a whole lot of people that filled up the council chambers, and was talking about a lot of the issues associated with that opening and closing the opening. I hope that we can come up with the best solution for everybody. I know it's been an ongoing issue, and at this point, I'm not sure what the win-win is in that situation. So I just wanted to share that with you. You probably were here 8 years ago because you weren't here during those conversations. Okay. As far as the compressor station, I certainly will do my part to get the word out to all the people that I know so they can become interveners, because I think, as we spread the word, we need more people, we need more numbers out there for or against. I think most of the people that I would know would be against that. So, and I appreciate you guys coming in here and staying on top of that whole issue, the task force, the work that you're doing. And I just want to say one more thing. We're losing a shining star here in Franklin Township, and one of our employees by the name of Tiffany Delaney. She's our special projects manager. Her last day is going to be on March 31st, Friday. And Tiffany's done a lot in Franklin Township in terms of the Franklin Festival Day, the Hamilton Street Business District. She's contributed a lot. She's done a lot with historic preservation. She's done a lot with economic development, destination marketing. She's worked on a lot of different special projects, Week of the People. And a lot of people in the community are going to miss her. And certainly I wish her Godspeed, and I wish her well. And I want to congratulate her for her new opportunity, for her new career opportunity. But she's going to be missed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Oli Jaka.
Yes. In reference to Ali Drive, I've heard your comments. I'm the ward chair. I'm the ward council man in that area, and I've heard your concerns. What I'm going to do, I am going to officially, as the councilman, bring that issue to the mayor and the township manager, who will look at it and find out if there's any possible way have an exit for you people over there. Who will do that? And I'm privileged to be at the Franklin Township after our girls won the game. That was my first time to witness that. It was a good and a very exciting period. They offered us pizza and Coke, though I didn't eat any because of joy. I was overwhelmed. I acknowledge their victory. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to let you know that I think I've mentioned it before, the farmers market that is coming to Franklin probably around June, and it will be located in the lot on DeMott and Amwell. It will be held on Saturdays. It's still in the planning stages. There are things that may be tweaked. Not exactly sure, of all the details, but since we haven't finished them, but it is something I think our residents said they wanted, and we reacted and went ahead and are in the process of planning it. So we're all looking forward to that happening in the spring. So we'll bring you up to date more as we know more. I also attended a program done by the Municipal Alliance. I'm part of that, and I'm always so proud of the quality of the presenters that they bring, and it's really very scary. This was a police officer who showed the types of things that are available to children today. Drugs have become part of the commercial market, unfortunately. They can buy sneakers that have hidden pouches in them, mostly in the tongue, that they can put drugs in so that they're not detected. You can buy these in the stores. There's clothing. There are things that are encouraging our children to use drugs. There are for instance, there was a soda bottle, Mountain Dew, that you could shake and you would think there was soda in it, but you unscrew the bottom and there's an area in there for drugs. These are commercially available, and it's very frightening that our children are being inundated with this kind of information. I don't know what can be done about it, but where is the conscience of these retailers that they take advantage of this kind of market to entice our children to do deceptive things and hurt themselves in the long run? It's really pathetic. And I had the great pleasure of attending 2 events having to do with the New Year's celebration, and I went to the Pushchis' home for their celebration, and Miss Saba invited me to her home to see the beautiful display, the symbology of the things that are on the table for the New Year, and tasting some wonderful food. So my gratitude to both families for inviting me. And last but not least, I really don't care about sports one iota. I don't watch it. I don't care about it. But when I heard that the Franklin girls team won this event, I was excited. I was shocked. I was so excited. I went to the high school and wanted to be there when they got off the bus. It was wonderful. It was just so amazing. I'm so proud of them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sherman. We're going to digress back to Councilman Chase. He had said one more thing to add.
I just forgot, I wanted to respond to Mr. Guy. The Director of Planning told me that he's about to request an appropriation to hire a consultant to do the transportation element of the master plan. Most of the master plan, our Director of Planning will do with public hearings when it's appropriate, but he is going to call for a consultant for the transportation section.
Deputy Mayor Carl Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 reports to bring to you. The first one will be on land use. We met, and some of the things that came out were for the Little League bathrooms. In response to the committee inquiry, Mr. Vornlock, our township manager, updated the committee on the status of the project, specifically that the award of the bid was on the council's 328 agenda. So if you look through it, it should pop up on you.
It's there.
Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's on your consent agenda for award of contract.
On the Catalpa Park, we reviewed the plan, the revised plans for Catalpa, and the following comments were made. The plans need to, wait, well, hold on one second. I'm going to ask Dr. Chase to come in on that one.
Well, we pretty much agreed with the plans in their present state of preparation, and the plans will then go on to the Open Space Committee, the Advisory Committee, and eventually the Planning Board for their advice. We made the point that the plans at present don't clearly show that we'll be preserving all of the existing vegetation along the Arthur Glick Boulevard side of the field there, and then planting evergreens in front of the existing vegetation, that is to say, on the field side. We also suggested moving the community garden to where there's a space that's already open. We could avoid cutting down trees if we put the community garden there. It's still near the parking lot for the cricket field. That's essentially it.
Thank you, Councilman Chase. The next thing that we talked about was a dog park. We discussed about providing a dog park in the township in addition to the existing one in Colonial Park. The committee recommended that the township preservation consultant be asked to investigate the potential locations for this. Now, I know our mayor, Kramer, is a dog lover, and I'm going to ask for what type of thought did he have on this issue?
I'm obviously all for it. We're looking at some sites. Clearly, we There's one in the middle of town. We'd like to go to the southern part of town, but more opportunities. Thank you.
I'll just mention that this attention to this came as a result of it being brought up by a couple of Society Hill 6 residents when I met with them about Catalpa. We didn't think that Catalpa was the right place to have a dog park, but one of the other township open spaces might be, which is why we're forwarding it to the open space consultant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councilman Chase. On the consulata missions, our township manager, Mr. Vornlocker, indicated that the township expects to close the second week in April on the property. The committee also discussed different potential future partners, including the YMCA and the Franklin Township School Board. I want to ask just a brief comment on what it is that we think the Franklin Township School Board would want or do, if anything at all.
I think that might be putting the cart before the horse
Okay.
slightly. We have a meeting on Thursday night with the Board of Education, a joint council board meeting with the subcommittee, and that's when that will be discussed. I did tour the property with administrative staff from the Board of Education, and they have, at least this time, expressed some interest in possibly running programs from that location, should they be able to acquire it.
Thank you. And finally, I'm on a redevelopment area with Councilwoman at Large, Kimberly Francois. And one of the things that came up was the rezoning a boundary adjacent to RPM, that's our redevelopment here in town, area, affecting approximately 6,500 square feet, which would place the entire of the site within the Churchill Millstone zone, rather than having the site split zone between the CMR and the adjoining mixed-use zone. Mr. Hilliard, our township planner, explained that the change has no negative impact, as the permitted residential density was the same in both zones but was technically necessary. After discussion, the committee had no objections to move forward on this issue. Now, on your agenda, K Ordinance 4197-17 will be that ordinance to make that change to the zoning boundary for the redevelopment area in the 4th Ward. Now, that will take care of the report for the land use. And so someone asked about the girls' basketball team.
I'm so surprised you're going to mention it.
Last year, we had them in because they won the title. Check that. They won state title, but they didn't win the tournament of championship title. This year, they went all the way for the first time to win the Tournament of Champions. So we're going to bring them in again. And I think the mayor, who else was there that day besides you and I, that was texting back and forth?
Assemblyman Danielson was there, members of the school board, including his wife. Nancy LaCourte was there. Ed Potasnik, the president, was there.
Everyone was there. And so they will be coming in, just as last year, because we gave them a council proclamation for winning everything. And someone asked me, why were we bringing the young ladies here when they have a school board that looks after them? And I said, true, they could go to the school board and get the recognition, but if you don't watch the school board channel, you'll never see them. But if you watch our channel, you'll see them. And I think it's only proper that we recognize what we have in our township, and that's one of the things that we're going to do. So, Mr. Mayor, is that on the what day?
April 11th.
April 11th. So everybody come down and watch the women here from the Franklin High School basketball team. And, Mr. Mayor, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I hate sports. Sometimes Councilwoman Sherman and I get together to not watch sports. And That was the most exciting game I've ever seen. I mean, it was storybook. It was wonderful, and they were so excited. And it's a wonderful thing for the town. You're going to be hearing more and more and more about them. I do think it moves our town and our school system forward. In fact, I went to the high school this past Friday to meet with the coach and the assistant coach, and I asked them, so what are you going to ask for? Because this is the time for them to ask. The BOE president wasn't happy that I had put that in her mind, but I also, moving on, did go to the high school the week prior to that and taught 2 classes in local government civics, just kind of explaining to them how our government works and how the political process works. I see a future person that's going to probably force me out of office when they run, somewhere in there. There were a lot of bright minds in that class, and I was glad to talk to them. Erie Drive it's not just for 8 years. I think it's been 18 years that has been an issue. When I first started coming here in 2003, I remember people talking about that area.
Well, I knew it was a long time.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And it's a difficult solution, or it's difficult to find a solution. There was supposed to be a road going out to Bennington that never happened. The problem this time came because the citizens on Julie and Deborah were complaining about people speeding through their area. Unfortunately, Dina is not a solution. That's a privately owned streets there, so they put up that chain. We actually once cut down that chain before I was on council, and we then apologized and put the chain back up at our expense. I'm eager to talk with people and try to find a solution. It will be difficult to find, and you were very courteous and polite in your approach, and I recognize that. Sanctuary cities. The things that were said tonight are most appropriate. And if people may be wondering why we are not acting on this, I've also had people wondering why we're even taking time to do it. But I want to read something from the AG written how many years ago, Mr. Vornlacher?
2007.
Okay. 10 years. I can do that math. It's a long document. I'm going to read some experts. So in part, it says, when a local county or state law enforcement officer makes an arrest of any indictable crime or for driving while intoxicated, the arresting officer or designated officer, as part of the booking process, shall inquire about the arrestee's citizenship, nationality, and immigration status, and then it goes on to say, and report it to ICE. It specifically names those crimes. And then later on, it says, no state, county, or local law enforcement officer shall inquire about or investigate the immigration status of any victim, witness, potential witness, or person requesting or receiving police assistance. So there are already statewide protections about it. Unless it's a serious crime, that it's only on serious crimes police are directed to ask those questions, and they're specifically prohibited from asking those questions when someone is a victim or they're trying to report a crime. So I know some of you wish we wouldn't do anything. They don't think it's our part. Others of you think, why aren't we acting? For the reason we're not acting yet is because New Jersey is a sanctuary state, in essence. And we have to be careful of calling attention to ourselves, especially with the actions of Attorney General Sessions. Is that his title? Attorney General Sessions. So we are proceeding carefully. That is all of my comments. Township Manager's report.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just make one comment to your,
Absolutely. Well, you want to come up with another date to not watch sports?
together. That was cute. I just would like to suggest something, and I ask for help from some of the people in the audience. If there is anyone who is aware of information that we could perhaps review and see if it's appropriate that we would make available perhaps in our lobby, I don't know, that would help immigrants understand where to go for help if they have a problem, or, just what their rights are. I think that would be a helpful thing if we could have that kind of information. So if anyone knows where to get that, please let me know. I'd like to look into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Manager Vornlacher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To echo Councilwoman Francois' words earlier about my departing employee, it just kind of it puts a smile on my face. Tiffany was the first person I hired. She replaced me. So obviously, she kind of holds a place in my heart. I knew when I hired her that I would not be able to keep her for long. She's going to go far in life and do well, and she's an incredibly talented woman who will do very, very well. She's incredibly intelligent, and it came as no surprise to me when she came to my office the last Monday and said that she had been made a very nice offer to further her career. So I congratulate her on that. Another employee of mine who also never ceases to amaze me, Safi Cowan in our Recreation Department, recently, on behalf of the Township and the Franklin Township Youth Council, accepted the Daniel M. Galazaberti Excellence in Recreation Programming Award from the New Jersey Recreation and Parks Association. That's a fantastic honor for our Recreation Department, and in particular Safi, who is the program director for that, program coordinator for that program, which has previously won other awards. But this is kind of the pinnacle of those awards granted to programs here in New Jersey from their organization. So at a later date, Safi and her, the Parks Director, Alice Sipowicz, will be here for that award. So I again want to congratulate Safi. The last thing I just wanted to bring to the attention for all of those who don't know it and who have the need for this particular service, April 15th is right around the corner, and the Township, in partnership with the United Way of Northern New Jersey, is sponsoring volunteers who have been certified by the IRS to assist in the preparation of state and federal tax returns. Those are done by appointment at the Community Resources Building at 935 Hamilton Street. Their appointments start at 3 p.m. They're done on Tuesdays. There's a number available on our website. It's on the homepage. If you look for tax assistance, you can click on that link. For those who want to write down numbers quickly, it's 973-993-1160, extension 521, for anyone who needs assistance with filing their tax returns. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vornlacher. By the way, for people keeping track, this is the amount of the meeting we've gone through, and this is the amount of the meeting we have left to do. So there are fortunately no council discussion items. We are now on to approval of the minutes. Item number 10, the minutes of the Township Council Special Meeting, March 15, 2017, 7:10 p.m. are hereby presented for approval by the Township Council. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or corrections? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois? Mayor Kramer?
I abstain, I was on vacation.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Approval of the warrants, time to pay the bills. Warrants in the amount of $1,173,280.09 on March 28th, 2017 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Do we have a motion on the warrants?
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
So we are now on to the CDBG grant program. For SYF 2017 Community Development Block Grant Program. Application and presentation to the public. At this time, Deborah Mitchell will speak about the applications received, and then we will be opening for a public hearing so that applicants may speak and plead their case.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here for our 2017 Community Development Block Grant Program application period. The Township received last year $254,477,000 in funding for the program. This year, the funding level has not been determined at this date. However, we will still accept the applications, and we will have the exact funding figure hopefully sometime in April, I hope. No guarantees though, right? The program, the Community Development Block Grant Program, the Township receives this fund to help our low and moderate income residents who reside primarily in the East Franklin area of the Township. The grant can be used for a variety of activities. For instance, we can use it for acquisition of real property, relocation and demolition, rehabilitation of residential and non-residential structures, construction of public facilities and improvements, and for public services. There is a 15% cap on the public services. That's for activities that we've generally funded for daycare assistance, for our food bank community farm and activities of that nature. The balance of the funds go to hard cost items such as renovations to buildings for public use or private use for our residents. In particular, we have assisted in the past the Wyland Senior Center with their activities. We put in new bathrooms there, and we put in kitchens. So those are samples of the type of activities that we can fund. This year, the Township received 16 applications for funding. For the public service category, we received a total of $176,000 $176,000 of applicants. We received the applications from Family and Community Service, the Center for Great Expectations, from our Recreation Department for the summer camp and for boys and girls, from Central Jersey Resource Center for Housing Counseling, from the Food Bank for our community garden, from Home Sharing for their Homeless Match program, from Grades for Life, a community social rewards program, New Jersey Orators for their oratorical and literacy program for school-age students, for Marie's Allied Health for technology upgrades for their workforce development program, and from Somerset County Community Action Program for the Community Unity Festival. It concludes the public service. For public facilities, we received $158,630 in applications. The Sisters Network for parking lot upgrade, the Arc of Somerset for renovations to a second bathroom for their group home in Griggstown, from the Franklin Township Food Bank for an expansion of their refrigerator space, for the Center of Great Expectations for the installation of a commercial refrigeration unit, and from the Wyland Senior Residence, the installation of 20 kitchen upgrades and 100 bathroom upgrades. In this instance, they're asking for down flush toilets that are more accessible to the residents. I believe we have a few applicants here that would like to present. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we will have a public hearing for applicants. So only people who are applicants may come up to speak. Do I have a motion to open?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion on that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now open for applicants to speak. We're going to limit this to 3 minutes per applicant.
John Giuliano, Administrator at the Center for Great Expectations. Thank you, Mayor Bill Kramer, other distinguished members of the Township Committee, for your generous support given to the Center for Great Expectations in the past. And thank you for the opportunity tonight to present our CBDG grant request this year. I've been here the past 4 years, but let me briefly announce myself and Great Expectations operating within Franklin Township on Delwood Lane. Again, my name is John Giuliano. My role at CGE is administrator. I take care of the HR department, the facilities, state and county licensing and contracts, safety and compliance. Founder and President Peg Wright began operating CGE in Somerville in 1998, serving young clients who have experienced chronic abuse and neglect in their own childhood, leading to mental health and substance abuse issues, now homeless and pregnant or parenting. In Somerville, CGE was serving 6 clients. In 2008, CGE moved to the location here in Somerset, building 2 residential treatment centers and an on-site child development center, Katie's Place, thanks to the critical support of Franklin Township. Through an ever-expanding continuum of care, including supportive housing at Avalon, Somerset, CGE now serves over 200 clients each year. Tonight, we would gratefully appreciate your consideration of our needs at Great Expectations. Our Child Development Center, Katie's Place, remains critically underfunded. Services provided given the children of at-risk families are nurturing, structured, and responsive environments, so important during the development years of 0 to 3. We are requesting for $20,000 to partially support our $314,000 total budget. Our other needs is for a commercial refrigerator that would allow purchases of extended perishable food items for 12 adolescents and their children. Just keeping milk in stock for 12 clients and their children takes the clinical staff away from other critical duties while they make daily trips to the supermarket. This additional larger refrigerator would expand our refrigeration space so we could make weekly purchases, and also then we would be better able to access Rutgers Farmers Market. Since you, the members of the Township Committee, have been an integral part of the CG's efficacy in helping the less fortunate, I would like to update you on 2 significant accomplishments since the last CDBG meeting. In July of 2016, CGE's residential and outpatient programs have become CARF accredited. This CARF accreditation is based on how we serve our clients. The other update is about the trauma-informed continuum of care that our clinical staff provides to the most vulnerable in our communities, in our residential, child development, supportive housing, and outpatient programs. CGE is recognized by the state and now nationally as a premier provider of this unique intervention. In 2016, we received a 5-year grant to become a partner in the National Child Traumatic Stress Initiative. Designated as a Category 3 Community Treatment and Service Center, CGE will continue to lead this field by implementing the evidence-based ARC trauma model in all of our programs, and then train other New Jersey providers in implementing the same model.
Your time.
As a representative of Peg Wright, our clinical and administrative staff, our clients, I would like to thank you for your time tonight and your help and support through the years. I'd be happy to do my best to answer any of your questions.
Thank you. So 3 was probably a little skimpy, so he talked for 4. If we could give the others 4. Does council have any questions for him?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sharon Clark. I'm the Executive Director with the Central Jersey Housing Resource Center. We're located in Raritan. I wanted to come tonight so that if anyone has any questions, I can answer them. I submitted a grant for $6,760, and that's to serve 158 clients. We also have done all our figures and put it in there for you. We serve every year about 17 to 20% of our 1,500 clients a year are residents of Franklin Township. We're very fortunate that we work well with the township. Right now there's a post-purchase course going on at the library, so I have to run back there. For those of you that don't maybe know, and that's also part of the counseling, what post-purchase is, there's a lot of homeowners, so we bring in people to tell them, because when you buy a condo, for example, in Franklin Township, which we're lucky that you have it, you're not required by law to have homeowners insurance because people think, oh, I have condo insurance. But unfortunately, over my career, and it just happened in Bridgewater actually, things happen like a fire or something and people get displaced and they don't realize that without insurance, there's nobody to put you up in one of these extended stays or some of the other things. So we teach them about that. We teach them to be careful when they build equity to not let it go away, and we bring them in to understand what equity is in their property and to not just keep refinancing the home if they can help it. We also let them know about services and programs. We're very fortunate that Franklin Township has a lot of options. We teach them about the weatherization program. We teach them about the free tax, how to fill out their taxes at this time of the year at a VITA site. So we do everything from pre-purchase counseling. Right now, if somebody in Franklin Township has a problem, we don't use your money for this, but if they're in foreclosure, right now through State of New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, we're the agency in this area that processes people that they could possibly get $50,000. So if there's anybody listening and they're struggling, they should call our office, and if there is funds out there to help them, some people are eligible for that. And then we do rental counseling, which please keep processing people asking for rental units to be built, because there is a giant need and the stock is very limited in Somerset County. So we need more rental units, and we help them find that limited stock and make sure they're in the best credit position possible, as well as that they have everything else like the first month's rent and security and all the other things that go with it. And then we teach people about the Fair Housing Act. This is also, I came from the freeholders of Somerset County, who are also wonderful, and this is the anniversary of the Fair Housing Act. And we need these special laws so that people are protected, especially people that don't know that they have certain rights. Right now, we have some cases going on for special accommodation. So where the landlord did move the tenant to the first floor, but then raised the rent a lot. So my office also gets involved with that. So I'll take any questions so that you can hear from the other wonderful applicants.
Just a quick question. Would you let people know what the phone number is to reach you? I would like to have it.
Oh, sure. Our main number is 908-704-8901, and our website is www.cjhrc.org. And we also are very good with your person for public information, put things in the newsletter, but we hope everybody will reach out to us. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing us to come and do this. My name is Doris Robinson, and I am the director of an after-school program for teens for the last 18 years, going on 19 in October. We first started 15 years ago, and the program was called Arise, when the county and federal government, I don't know, gave funds for students who were on probation and in and out of trouble and community service type students. Well, because of recidivism, they decided almost 4 years ago to do away with Arise and start another program called, well, we named it, we had to name it, it's a different mission, and the mission was to prevention. So now our program is called Franklin Youth Prevention and Empowerment Program, and we've been called that for the last 4 years. Our students are not on probation. If they get on probation, if they do something, then I have to see them. I don't just toss them away, but I will see them personally at another time, but we don't like mixing the students. I've been around, we've had, and I'll tell you who bailed us out, our township managers. You'll hear the story. We were literally homeless. I literally walked the streets trying to find a place a couple of years back. We had in 18 years, I have had 5 different locations, from First Baptist CDC building to SCAP on Lewis Street to then at SCAP on Hamilton Street, and then they lost the contract. That's where we got homeless. And thankfully, through Kimberly Francois and Mr. Tibbs and our township manager called a meeting, and he gave us a home. So we now are at 935 and have been going on 3 years. We did have to move one summer, however, because they said they had a camp. So First Baptist gave us a room for the summer, and then the township manager said no, no more. And so this summer, we stayed put. And I'm just thankful for the way you all are just embracing our program. We do have success stories with the Franklin Youth Prevention and Empowerment Program, because back in the day, my students would get, every quarter I'd have an arrest or 2 or 3 or whatever. But now, in a year and a half, we've had 1 arrest. And that is a beautiful thing. You just don't know. You don't know, but it is just 1. And because one thing we do, the county mandated that we have to have program plans. So every student you see, if you say, what are you working on, they have to say something. And we check at least twice a month. I do one-on-one, eyeball to eyeball, so to speak. Life skills people come in to talk, from Zoo for Health, which used to be Women's Health and Counseling, to Somerset Treatment Center services. They come talk about substance abuse. We do monthly activities, and you need to know that I keep a schedule. If you ever want to see, each quarter I do this for life skills people who come in, and trips, monthly trips. I make sure it's recreational, cultural, or education. We go to Crossroads. I make sure they have theater experience. And you need to know, we were at that Rutgers Big Ten game where they beat Illinois. We were there. Oh, what a game. But anyway, all that to say that you all give us money, and the main thing you give us money for is for an assistant. For 3 years, I had nobody. It was just me. But thankfully, have had 4. But this last man, Mr. Francis, he has been with me for 10 years, and he's really good with the students. The things that I do, like counseling, program planning, trip planning, he deals with other things to help the program run efficiently. Just want you to know, we have brochures if you ever need to know, and we have a yearly newsletter. These are the kinds of things Mr. Francis helps with. And we have a yearly January, just once a year. Had more money, we do it more. And I have a board. Well, it's not a board now, it's called Friends of FIPEP. Any questions? And we meet bi-monthly, every second Thursday, bi-monthly.
No question, just a comment. Congratulations on the good record. Good job, good work.
Thank you. And let's thank our township manager and our councilwoman and Mr. Tibbs, because we were homeless, weren't we? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Jackie Kelman, I'm with the Franklin Food Bank. So as you know, we're continuing to serve Franklin Township residents in need. Last year, we were able to give out over 1.1 million pounds of food to 1,800 families right here in Franklin. So we're continuing to see a need within the community. This year, we're requesting money for a refrigeration unit. So through our great partnerships that we formed within the community, last year, we gave out over 300,000 pounds of just produce. We want to focus on healthier options for our clients rather than just canned food. So with that 300,000 pounds, we also saw a huge spoilage issue. We don't have enough refrigeration space to handle all this produce. So we are hoping that with this grant, we can build a walk-in refrigeration unit to help reduce the spoilage. Last year, we had about 28,000 pounds of spoilage. We really want to reduce it to hopefully less than 20,000 pounds this year. We're also asking for help with our community farm project. It's going into, I believe it's our 4th year. So our community farm, it's right here in Franklin, volunteers from the community through Rutgers Master Gardeners, they help us harvest produce that is given right back to our community. So our residents can come, our clients can come in and receive fresh produce as soon as it's harvested. So we really appreciate all the support that you guys have given us. That's about it.
Thank you. Any questions for the food bank?
Yes, Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
So I haven't actually been to your physical space in a few years.
Okay.
And, but following, not just through what we give you in grants with the CDBG, but in general. I ask this because it's unfortunate, but I see this need is continuing and unfortunately getting bigger over time. At what point, and you don't have to go into this tonight, maybe we can come back and talk about it, do you start looking for an alternative site that doesn't have to keep having updates, renovations, built out? And maybe that's not even relevant. I just would like to plan, I'd like to know that this, in the town anyway, obviously it's nonprofit, and besides grants, you know, it's funded by private donations mainly. But at what point, or are you already, or?
It's definitely something we're looking at. We see that the need is there. There is definitely a need for us. There is a stabilization among our clients, so we're not seeing the increase that we were seeing for the last 10 years, but there's still a huge need within the community. So that does obviously wear on our infrastructure, and we are taking a look at our opportunities within Franklin. How can we grow? How can we expand? But stay in the area that we're in, because we're right among the
It's a great area. I just meant that at some point, if something, I don't know, if you have something on the radar, or if the town's aware that you're looking, so that the communication could lead towards that in the future, if it's practical.
We're definitely open to ideas, and we have started to examine that closer, because we do see that there is a need for more space.
And you're taking that in consideration as you're requesting these grants and following through on whatever projects.
Yep, this walk-in refrigeration unit is assembled, it's purchased and then assembled right there, and I believe it can be disassembled.
I was just going to say, so some of these things could be utilized even if you do transfer to a different property over time. Just wondering, it's unfortunate, but we need to plan for the future, and you guys do a great job. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Let me find my agenda.
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one else come forward, I move that we close this portion of the hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion, I'm sorry, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. The public hearing for CDBG is closed. Do I have a motion to adopt? I'm sorry.
So moved.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, the motion to close. We've closed, and we're now moving on to item number 13, calendar year 2017 municipal budget. I'm laughing at myself. Ordinance 4181-17, calendar year 2017 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit and to establish a cap bank. The ordinance, the township attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. Do we have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now open to the public on the municipal budget's appropriations limits and to exceed the cap bank. Mr. To establish a cap bank. Mr. Manager has left. Okay. Anyone wishing to speak?
Seeing no one come forward, I move that this public discussion be closed.
Second.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. Public discussion is closed. Do we have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
The next resolution is Resolution 17103, self-examination of budget resolution as required by DCA. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? The purpose of this is normally DCA examines our budget. On, I believe it's alternate years, we examine it ourselves with some oversight by DCA, and this is that year. So unless there is further discussion, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Resolution 17104, authorized to read the calendar year budget by title only. Do I have a motion on the
So
resolution?
moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If you vote no, we will be here an additional 2 hours.
3? 8.
8? Okay. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman? Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Okay. I have to admit, when Mayor Levine was mayor, I often thought of voting no. Okay, that passes.
Yeah,
Public hearing on calendar year 2017 municipal budget. Open hearing on the budget. It's now appropriate time to have a public hearing on the budget. Do we have a
Motion for public hearing.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on opening for public hearing? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are open for public hearing specifically on the budget.
Seeing nobody coming forward, Mayor, I'm going to motion we close the public hearing on the budget.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing on the budget is closed. We are now finally on to resolution and adoption of the calendar year 2017 municipal budget. It is hereby presented to the Township Council for presentation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, and we are all here because this is an important vote. Is there any discussion on the budget?
I think it's a fine budget.
Seeing none, I guess the one thing is this budget rate does not raise the tax levy by 1 cent, and it is a budget smaller than last year's budget. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Thank you. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege now and take this opportunity to read the State of the Township address. It is based on us passing that budget, and I will read it at this point. Citizens of Franklin, I am pleased to tell you the state of the township is good. I am very proud of the accomplishments of this council, staff, and citizens of Franklin. All of these have contributed to the wonderful community in which we live. The police department has had many accomplishments, literally too numerous to mention, but I'll name a few. The chief accepted award on behalf of the department from NOBLE, the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, for the ethnic diversity of the force and the chief's work in the minority community. Our court system also shows diversity in our judges and prosecutors. Our officers have received the 200 Club Valor Awards for preventing an attempted robbery, residential fire rescue, and saving the life of a middle school student. We have an accredited police force when only 20% of departments are accredited statewide. The Youth Summer Police Academy continues to grow, now involving 40 children a year. We have opened the Hamilton Street Community Police Relations Office and are adding a supervisory position this year. Our library moves forward as well. We have increased shared services with the town. We renegotiated a new lease for the southern branch, which will save tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, we are working on the acquisition of land so we will be able to own our own building rather than rent. Talk is moving forward on a northern branch as well. In the last year alone, the library has had 250,000 visits, 523 programs for children, and 679 programs for adults. Over 20,000 people attended these programs. And while there are growing pains, the library has now begun to televise its monthly meetings, increasing open government. The Sewage Authority is also moving towards televising their meetings. Our recreation department has made us proud, teaching 172 residents to swim, engaging 470 children in summer camp, providing mentoring and leadership skill development to 200 local teens, operating 35 programs for our active adults and senior communities, serving a total of approximately 9,000 residents in approximately 200 programs, 160 of which are for children. Citizens are noticing our progress in paving streets. This has long been championed by Councilman Vassanella. We have been playing catch-up for the last 7 years and are looking forward to catching up in the next 2 or 3 years. As we do this, we are decreasing our reliance on bonding, thus saving the township money in the long run. And we are beginning Councilman Wright's long-awaited sidewalk project, which will encourage walking and provide added safety for our children. We are also improving safety by installing a local emergency broadcast radio station. Thanks to Councilwoman Sherman, Franklin Day now serves over 10,000 people, introducing them to the township community and providing support for the food bank. Canal Fest, which is largely a private undertaking with township encouragement and engagement, now serves over 3,000 people and contributes to the food bank. And the food bank, while it is a separate organization from the town, the township frequently reaches out to provide support. Again, with the leadership of Councilwoman Sherman, we embarked on an economic development plan. This is a priority so that our town can continue to thrive in the future and shore up our tax base. Councilwoman Francois is moving Franklin towards her long-time dream of a youth center in the northern portion of town. I am hopeful this will incorporate a northern library branch. I applaud her in her continuing efforts towards that endeavor. Councilwoman Robinson is concentrating on improving our transportation infrastructure and youth mentoring. Councilman Chase continues to drive us towards environmental responsibility and acquisition of open space. He continues to fight the state and other obstacles between us towards fixing the Little Rocky Hill water main. Councilman Prasad has kept us aware of recreational needs that acknowledge how these needs are changing over time. Both Prasad and Chase lead our efforts at thwarting the compressor station in the southern part of town. We have built Middle Bush Park, which serves both our youth and adults, and we are building Catalpa parks. We are also fixing our existing parks. Open space. In recent years, we have preserved over 1,500 acres of land, preventing the building of nearly 600 homes. Until recently, the township waited until we heard of land for sale or we were approached. That changed 2 years ago when I asked the manager to actively seek out properties. He then approached the mission at Consolata, leading to, in my opinion, the greatest acquisition since I've been involved with the township. Not only are we acquiring the land at a discount of $1.5 million, but the acquisition prevents over 500 of those 600 homes from being built, and we are hopeful it will lead to a YMCA in Franklin, a long dream of Councilman Wright's. I'm also hopeful, my personal perspective is the buildings there on this property can be used to move our school system forward. We're very proud of Councilman Onyejaka, who is the first elected West African immigrant in the United States. Because of him, we are honored by a visit from a Nigerian king, and the councilman has brought us to international recognition by speaking at the United Nations not once but twice. The township has never worked more closely with our school board. We are providing the environmental center to the school district, and they have restarted the environmental education program. The financial modeling, which I instituted along with the courage of council to make tough choices, the hard work of the manager and staff, and the sacrifice of both citizens and employees, has brought this town from a situation where we were within 2.5 years of running out of money to a point now where we have a comfortable fund balance, significantly low debt, and a AA+ bond rating, all of which has enabled us to not increase our tax levy this year and maintain a budget which remains lower than the 2009 year budget. In fact, this year's budget is lower than last year's budget. The financial state of the township is very good. I caution, however, it is now incumbent on council, staff, and our bargaining units to keep it that way. It has taken hard work and sacrifice to get us here, and it will take the same to keep us here. Now is not the time to spend money recklessly. Finally, I'd like to point out 3 achievements within the town made by efforts of our citizens and our youth. First, Alex Karazi has strengthened the bonds in this town through his work with the Interfaith Council. Second is the progress made by Fode Manzare and Dauda Manzare in moving our West African community forward. And third, the contribution of the girls' high school basketball team. We recognize you because you are the state champions, but we admire you for the dedication it took to even compete at that level. Again, the state of the township is good. We have many challenges ahead of us, but this council has moved us forward, and I am honored by the privilege of working with them. Thank you. Okay, we are now on to item number 14, public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second reading. 14A, 1482-17, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 115, Dogs and Other Animals. Add new Article 6, prohibiting the sale of dogs and cats from pet shops. Yes. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit, and an affidavit of publication and a public hearing is in order. I will entertain a motion to open for the public hearing.
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of opening for public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now open for public discussion on this item only.
Seeing no one come forward from the public, my motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, yeah, all in favor, I voted aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the ordinance?
Just to be a bad guy, Mr. Mayor, this is near and dear to you. What exactly is this?
So this is really an ordinance, it's somewhat against puppy shops who sell animals from puppy mills, but it is really something to help try to shut down puppy mills. These are industrial breeding facilities that often have dogs that never get out of their cage. They're simply there for breeding. They're not treated humanely. There is no regard for heredity and inbreeding. And people wind up buying dogs that in a few years the inbred disease comes out. They have sick dogs. It's bad for the dogs, bad for customers. And unfortunately, we cannot police it by just inspecting them or seeing where they bought the dogs from. The current Washington administration has taken down the list of the irreputable breeders, so there's really no way to track this other than to not allow them to do that. This does not stop hobby breeders who are known to be responsible or from pet shops selling animals from our animal shelter. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Councilwoman Sherman?
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes. Councilwoman Sherman, coming back to you on the puppy, on the dog.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion is passed. Ordinance 4183-17, amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 138, Food Establishments. The amending Section 138-5, licenses by amending Section 138-5E by increasing reinspection fees. The Township Attorney has approved an affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. Do I have a motion?
Motion for public hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion on opening for public hearing, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now open for public hearing on this item only.
Seeing no one come forward from the public, Mayor, motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in
have a-
favor of
Mr. Mayor?
closing this? No, we're just the public discussion, not on the ordinance itself. Motion, all in favor of closing public discussion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Public discussion is closed. Do I have a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Now we can have discussion on the item.
Yeah, I just wanted to know about the reinspection fees. Did we get some kind of feedback on if our reinspection fees are commensurable with other localities?
Yes, so I talked to Patty Elliott, who formerly worked for us, now works for the county. The county is our Department of Health. There are currently 4 towns. They service 7 towns. There are currently 4 towns that are doing this. Our fees are lower than theirs, according to Ms. Elliott. The other 2 towns besides us are looking into doing exactly what we're doing. They've raised this with all of them. The other issue, perhaps you have more questions before I speak.
Go ahead.
The other issue, I confirmed with her, so you can get an A, B, C, or F rating from them. An A rating means everything's perfect. A B rating means you have minor problems. A C rating is, which, and A and B does, or a B does not require reinspection. A C rating means they've found critical things that are wrong and are health hazards. And I tried to push her into saying, so they've been negligent. She said she wouldn't go that far, but there are serious things wrong if you get a C. So they're trying to encourage people to get it right on the first inspection.
So the reinspection fee applies to a C rating?
To the C rating, not, there is no reinspection for B, and would also apply to the F rating.
Obviously.
But the F rating is really, is something out of their control. That would be like there's a fire or something that they just have to close. You're not closed for a C rating. It's a conditional rating, and you can operate until you are reviewed again.
And the reinspection, I was trying to find it, what is the reinspection fee?
200?
Is it
I
200?
believe it's
I looked at it
200.
before, and go ahead.
I believe it's 200, and I was going to ask you, Mayor, I'm not absolutely sure, but you mentioned 4 towns. There's 7 that the county does. The 4 that have already done this, you're saying, are actually higher than the reinspection fee this ordinance would set?
That's what she told me, yes. There are Manville, Raritan, South Plainfield.
So can we just confirm it actually is 200 then?
It's not, there's
Plainfield.
3 different
Thank you.
tiers. The first reinspection is 100. The second one would be 200, and from the third and any after the third is 300 each.
So it'd be 100 if they failed a reinspection. It's
Correct.
200 to come back.
To come back the first time, it's 100. The second time would be 200, and 3 or more is 300.
Okay.
Any other discussion,
Well,
further comment?
yeah, so I think the comment here is that we're trying to prevent people from having
Re-inspections.
re-inspections.
And we
That's why
did this
we're
with the
raising price.
pools, and it worked.
Okay.
Okay.
No, the 100 actually sounds reasonable for the first one. I thought it was 200 on the first reinspection. That seemed a little high. So thank you for the clarification. And Mayor, just quickly, so if there's a few items that aren't crucial, but still they're violations, you mean a B, and they get a B, and no time does the health inspector have to go back to make sure that those minor violations are corrected? That seems, that may be so. My recollection was that they still have to take care of those minor violations.
Well, they're encouraged to take care of them. So that it's a point system, and if they, I don't know the exact grading, but I know that it's for, if they have a critical violation, such as they don't have hand washing, or things aren't cooked to the proper temperature, or stored at the proper temperature, that's 5 points, and that's a lot of points. And it's hard to pass an inspection once you have one of those. If you have a few of those, then it becomes more of a problem, and you get the condition pass. Those you have to correct. If it's just a couple of points, maybe they forgot to hang, and I you know what, I shouldn't even name an infraction, because I may not know which are minor or major. But yes, it's honor system. It's hard to get an A. You have to work to get an A. If you're reasonably diligent, you get a B.
Okay, thank you.
No more questions, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Call the
Any other
question.
questions? Yes, sir.
No, we call the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had a question. Anyone else? No? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes.
The next ordinance is ordinance 4184-17, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 167, Noise, Section 167-1, Definition, and Section 167-8, Burglar alarms, music or sound amplification or reproduction equipment, fireworks. And that's the key word. The Township Attorney has approved an affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. Do we have a motion to open for a public hearing?
Second.
Moved and seconded, and seeing no discussion and opening for public hearing, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are open for public discussion.
Mayor, seeing no one come forward from the public, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this
Second.
ordinance.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion on closing the public portion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public discussion is closed. Do I have a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on the quiet fireworks ordinance.
Going to remain quiet on that one.
Mr. Mayor, if I might just make a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to let everyone know how impressed I was. I got an email. If you recall, there were two gentlemen here when we discussed it, and they spoke for the palace. And one of them was the president, and he emailed me saying they had begun the process of the quiet fireworks and wanted to make sure the residents were happy with what they had done. And we don't often get people doubling back to make sure that what they've done is acceptable. So I was very impressed. In fact, they were so quiet, I never even noticed that they happened. So they really do work. So I am sure many of our residents are very pleased. So I thank Mr. Hamill for his consideration. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, so Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Thank you. Ordinance 4185-17, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 180, Fees, Section 19, Body Art, Establishment License Fees, addition of new subsection 180-19C, Temporary Establishment Fees, $200. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. Do I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The meeting is open for public discussion on this item only.
Seeing no one coming forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Public discussion is closed. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion on the ordinance? This is a tattoo. This is an ordinance establishing a fee if there were like a tattoo fair and they had to inspect the facilities at the fair for the vendors. Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, can you elaborate or explain?
Oh, yeah. And it's temporary establishments, not temporary tattoos. Any other questions or discussion items? Okay, I passed the quiz. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
So, Mr. Mayor, the ones you get in the Cracker Jack box, they don't count?
No inspection fees on Cracker Jack boxes. Ordinance 4186-17, an ordinance releasing, extinguishing, and vacating the rights of the public of a street known as a portion of Tuxedo Lane in the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The Township Attorney has approved an affidavit for publication, and a public hearing is in order. Do we have a motion to open to the
So
public?
moved.
Second. No.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion. All in favor of opening to public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are open to the public on Tuxedo Lane.
Mayor, seeing no one coming forward from the public, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Motion on the ordinance.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
We are now less than halfway through the agenda. Ordinances on introduction and first reading. Ordinance 4187-17, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 236, Municipal Services, Schedule A, Sterling Point. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with the law, and the public hearing and final adoption on, write it down, Tuesday, April 11th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
And a second?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? So this is essentially an ordinance when communities go in, house developments go in, the developer and the community handle the fees for lighting the community. And at some point, we, by state law, have to take that over, and that's what this ordinance is for. Further discussion? Seeing, hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes. Ordinance 4188-17, an ordinance of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acceptance of a conservation easement from PVP Franklin LLC to the Township of Franklin for premises known as Block 516.01, Lot 7.03, which is at 495 Weston Canal Road. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with the law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 11, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'll just comment that this is to protect a small brook there is on the property. At this property, the planning board has approved site plans 4 times, and now they're finally going ahead and building a lot of mini warehouses there, I think. At least that was the last plan approved.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Okay, so the next few ordinances are bond ordinances, and that's because we just passed our budget. So we now passed the budget, now we have to start spending the money and bonding for the things we decided to bond for. And the township attorney won't let me bundle these, so I have to read each and every one separately. I'd rather watch.
Do that anyway.
I'd rather watch sports. Yes. But that's why I make the big money. Ordinance 4189-17, bond ordinance providing for various 2017 capital improvements and equipment acquisitions for the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township appropriating $2,754,450, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,555,522 bonds for, or notes for the Township, of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 11th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the municipal complex. Do I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Ordinance 4190-17, bound ordinance providing for the 2017 road resurfacing program in and by the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township appropriating $3,324,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,970,300 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with the law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 11, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce and set
So
public
moved.
hearing?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I see bright faces. Yes, sir.
I have to ask the manager, I thought we were doing $2,500,000 worth of road resurfacing.
You do the bond cost too, Councilman. The bond, the total is to include the costs of the bonding itself.
Yeah, but that doesn't make
Sidewalks.
sense.
This includes sidewalks as well, right?
Oh, this includes the sidewalk.
Yeah, this is the side, yes.
why.
So Councilman Wright will be voting no.
Table it.
Yeah. Do we have a motion to table? Okay. All right, all kidding aside, we're spending the people's money, my fault. Do we have a motion to, did we already do that?
We got a
Sorry,
motion
we
and a
did, we were on to
second, yes.
discussion. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson? Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes, and before you go on, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vornlacher, did this include Spring Street?
You know, so, no, this would not include Spring Street. I don't think that we'll be paving Spring Street for any time in the foreseeable future.
Okay, I just want to check on that. Yeah, thank you.
Gotcha.
You may not have heard that. Our attorney just said page 2, as in we still have a long meeting to go. Okay, ordinance 4191-17. Is that the correct one? I didn't want to skip.
4191.
Okay. Bond ordinance providing for improvements to and equipment acquisitions for various parks by and in the Township of Franklin, in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township, appropriating $680,340 from the Open Space Trust Fund, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $646,323 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the costs thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with the law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 11th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce and set a public hearing?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Ordinance 4192-17, bond ordinance providing for improvements to various historic houses by and in the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township, appropriating $678,240 from the Open Space Trust Fund, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $644,000 $328 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the costs thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 11, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce and set a public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on our historic house? Seeing none. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 4193-17, bond ordinance providing for various, so we're now done with the bond ordinances. We are now on to,
No, yeah, one more bond, 4193.
oh, it is a bond ordinance. Yes, I'm sorry. Bond ordinance. Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements, that's what threw me, for the water utility of the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township, appropriating $3,143,100, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,143,100 in bonds. Why are the numbers the same? Should the numbers be the same in this case? Because usually,
Minus the 5%, you mean, Mayor?
No, this is water utility, not township. They're the equal in water utility.
Yes.
Require 5% down payment?
Self-liquidating, they don't require it.
Revenue.
okay. So the other ordinances carried a 5% down payment. This one, I guess this is the law. So, so $3,143,100 bonds or notes of the water utility in the township to finance the costs thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 11, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex.
Motion for introduction.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded for introduction and public hearing. Do we have a discussion on this? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
No. Motion passes. Ordinance 4194-17, capital ordinance providing for the purchase of security cameras and soccer goal replacement for open space purposes in and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township appropriating $35,000, therefore to pay the cost thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, and publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 11th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do we have a motion to
Motion for
introduce
introduction.
Second.
and set public hearing? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? There is seeing none. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes.
Okay. So before they were bond ordinance, these are capital ordinances because we are spending cash. Ordinance 4195-17, capital ordinance providing for various acquisitions for the water utility, them again, in and by the Township of Franklin, in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township appropriating $316,500, therefore, to pay the cost thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 11th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Public hearing.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes.
Ordinance 4196-17, capital ordinance appropriating $93,000 from the capital fund to pay for the acquisition and replacement of computer equipment in and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State, there's a spelling error there, of New Jersey. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on, of all days, Tuesday, 11th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce and set a
So
public
moved.
hearing?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes.
Ordinance 4197-17, this is on the land, the redevelopment land that Councilman Wright spoke about. An ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly, Chapter 112, Land Development, so as to change the designation of certain properties from CMMU, Churchill Millstone Mixed Use, to CMR, Churchill Millstone Residential. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 25th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Public hearing.
Second.
It is moved and seconded. Discussion. Councilman Wright already explained this. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes.
Did I
Consent.
say yes again?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Council, consent agenda resolutions. Items A through U, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do I have a motion to, and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Anyone like to pull one, have one discussed, mention one? Councilman Chase.
I would just like to ask about item I, performance bond for the Stop and Shop Supermarket Company, and I know that that one has been outstanding for a long time. Have all the dead trees been replaced?
Well, I can say confidently that it would not have been released unless they were replaced, so the answer would be yes.
Good, because I once had a constituent ask specifically for their replacement.
I certainly recall it very well. You and I spoke about it several times.
Anyone else? Then we shall vote. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
And it is passed. We have no resolutions to be voted on separately. We have old business on item number 18, boards, commissions, and committees, vacancies. Does anyone have any nominations? Councilman Chase.
Yes, I want to nominate Mary A. Lauco for the Environmental Commission. Her devotion has been shown by the fact that she sat through this meeting all the way to now. And she's come to, I think, a couple of Environmental Commission meetings already. she's also interested in the Shade Tree Commission, which is the manager's
She
appointment.
is, and that's the one thing that I actually get to do that's official up here, and that's that I get to appoint people to the Shade Tree Commission, and she has also expressed an interest there, and I have an alternate position open, and I will be in contact with you or Sarah Malone, our chairman, and I'm more than happy to have you. I looked over your resume, and I think I'm thrilled about the fact that you're going to join us.
Yeah, the council has the citizen leadership form. This is technically also an alternate appointment on the Environmental Commission, but that only makes a difference if they're actually voting on something, and the only thing they ever vote on really is the minutes, or very, very rarely a resolution, but in all other respects. And this position has been open for well over a year, so we're very happy to have somebody interested in taking it.
Are there any other nominations for that position? Hearing none, we can vote by acclamation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations. Any other environmental commission, I'm sorry, any other commission nominations? Seeing none, I have one. I have one, yes. I would like to nominate Alexandra Schmidt for the student position, non-voting member of the Advisory Board of Health. Her application is in our chart. I have met her, and she is one of these people I am nice to because someday I might be working for her.
Very impressed.
Are there any other nominations for Advisory Board of Health student position? Seeing none, we can vote by acclamation. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations, Alexandra. Any other nominations?
Mr. Mayor, we received a lot of citizen leadership forums, and we've got to see how they match up against the openings that we have. So probably the next council meeting, we should have that sorted out.
I agree, and we did receive a letter of a resignation from Sewage Authority. That's one we have to be very careful with. It's a very important
Right.
opening. So with no others, and no...
Motion to adjourn.
No executive session. I will take Councilman Prasad's motion to adjourn.